Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome into the Morning 5 on Monday, November 17th, 2014. I am Dave Biddle. If you live in Ohio, you woke up to see a bunch of snow on the ground today. Always nice in mid-November. Not really. Ohio State remained at 7th in the coaches poll, moved up to 7th in the AP poll following its 31-24 win at Minnesota on Saturday. The college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow, and I think the Buckeyes will be 7th in that one as well. Since that's the only one that matters, let's take a look at what the Buckeyes have to do in order to make the 14 playoff. Obviously, they have to win out. That means this Saturday against Indiana, next Saturday against Michigan, and over Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game most likely. And the Badgers are hitting their stride. Running back Melvin Gordon appears to be the front runner for the Heisman after his record-breaking 408-yard game in Wisconsin's 59-24 rout of Nebraska. Joel Stave is looking solid at the quarterback position, and solid is light years better than the Badgers were at that position earlier in the season. They have one of the best offensive lines in college football, and they play sound defense. So that will be a tough matchup for the Buckeyes if in fact it happens. But for argument's sake, let's say Ohio State wins out and finishes 12-1. Will that be enough to get in the playoffs? I think it will be, but the Buckeyes will likely need some help from the outside. The good news is that Oregon State upset Arizona State over the weekend, leaving Oregon as the only one-loss team in the Pac-12. The Buckeyes need to hope that Oregon gets another loss, and that would open the door for Ohio State to get in. Oregon hosts Colorado this week, but then has to travel to rival Oregon State the following week. That's one to keep an eye on. If the Ducks do beat the Beavers, they will still have to win the Pac-12 championship game to get in the playoff. There is a logjam in the Pac-12 South right now. Oregon could play any of four teams in the conference championship game: USC, UCLA, Arizona, or Arizona State. The point is there will be at least two more chances for Oregon to lose. In the Big 12, there are two teams left in playoff contention. They are 9-1 TCU and 8-1 Baylor. TCU plays at Texas on Thanksgiving Day, and that could be a tough game. TCU then closes with a home game against Iowa State on December 6th, the same day as the Big Ten championship game. Meanwhile, Baylor still has to play Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Kansas State all at home. That season finale against K-State could prove to be especially difficult for the Bears. I think there is a good chance the selection committee would take a 12-1 Ohio State team over an 11-1 TCU team or an 11-1 Baylor team. However, the Buckeyes are still hoping that both TCU and Baylor finish with 2 losses, which would eliminate them from playoff contention. Now let's move to the ACC. Unfortunately, Miami missed out on a golden opportunity to upset Florida State on Saturday, and then you had to take a late night shower because you felt dirty for rooting for DU. But not all hope is lost. I think the selection committee would take a 1-loss Ohio State team over a 1-loss Florida State team. But the problem is now finding that one loss for the Seminoles. They host Boston College this Saturday, then host the Will Muschamp-less Florida Gators next Saturday, and will then play in the ACC championship game against either Georgia Tech or Duke. So there's a chance Florida State will suffer a loss, and that would open the way for a 12-1 Ohio State team to get in. But it doesn't seem likely that the Seminoles will lose. Although Georgia Tech in the ACC title game could be interesting. Anyway, the bottom line is that Ohio State doesn't need a ton of help, but it looks like they do need some. I think the champions from 4 of the 5 power conferences will get in the playoff. The SEC champ is definitely going to get in, no question about that in my mind. That leaves 3 spots for the other 4 conferences. Again, the Buckeyes need to hope Oregon loses, or Florida State loses, or that both TCU and Baylor lose. But again, even if TCU and Baylor do run the table, I think there's a good chance the selection committee would take Ohio State over one of them, leaving the Big 12 out in the cold. So there you have it. I will come up for air now and turn it over to the Dean of Ohio State football recruiting, Bill Kurelic.
The Buckeyes have 20 2015 verbal commitments, and many of those 20 prospects have had very, very good senior seasons. But today I want to concentrate on 4 of them that have simply had outstanding senior seasons. One of them is Cocoa, Florida cornerback Jamel Dean. The 6'1", 180-pounder has been very good on both sides of the ball for a currently 10-1 Cocoa high school team that is headed to the second round of the state playoffs. This past Friday night, Dean had 4 touchdowns, all in the first quarter, 3 on pass receptions and 1 on a punt return, but it is his outstanding play at cornerback that he will make his home at Ohio State, and he is going to be graduating early, so certainly he is a guy to keep in mind for playing time as a true freshman for the Buckeyes. Another defensive back that's been great this season is Denzel Ward from Macedonia Nordonia High School in Ohio. Ward, a 5'11", 165-pounder, has led Nordonia to a 12-0 record with his great play at both cornerback and receiver. Ward will be a cornerback for the Buckeyes, and in 12 games has intercepted 9 passes this year for Nordonia. Also, another defensive back that was outstanding during his senior season. Josh Norwood from Valdosta, Georgia. The 6', 165-pound Norwood got a scholarship offer from the Buckeyes after playing so well this season in one of the country's top regions for prep football. Norwood had 6 interceptions this year in helping his team go 9-2. He also, in addition to playing cornerback, returned punts and kickoffs for Valdosta. He had 2 touchdowns this year, one on a pick 6 and one on a kickoff return, in addition to his 6 interceptions. And he says there's a chance he could still graduate early, and he would like to do so if it can be worked out by the end of December. Then he would enroll at Ohio State in January. And finally, defensive end Draymond Jones from Cleveland St. Ignatius was outstanding during his senior season. Draymond Jones saw his prep career for St. Ignatius come to an end on Saturday night as St. Ignatius was knocked out of the state playoffs by Hudson. But Draymond Jones was very, very good during his senior season, and he too is a guy that I think will vie for playing time as a true freshman for the Buckeyes. Now, these aren't the only prospects in the Ohio State 2015 class that could get early playing time as true freshmen for Ohio State, but they all have had great senior seasons, and I think will be in a position to perhaps contribute for Ohio State as true freshmen.
Thank you, Bill. Great stuff as always. I want to let the listeners know we have a regular team coverage today. We will interview Urban Meyer and a couple assistant coaches and a few players today around noon. So look for stories, bolts, videos, what Coach Meyer, the assistant coaches, and the players have to say. Thanks again to Bill Kurelic. Thanks to all the listeners out there. Stay warm. Take it away, best damn band in the land.